So all around the world, there are these really ambitious plans to support neurodivergent students. But what happens when that plan on paper crashes into the reality of the classroom? That's what we're diving into today, that critical gap between the plan and the people.
You know, if you're a teacher, I bet these questions hit close to home. They're those late-night thoughts, right? The ones that pop up when a new neurodivergent student joins your class. You want to do everything right, but there's that nagging uncertainty. How do I actually do this? Well, to try and answer that how, systems all over the globe have come up with these big, high-level frameworks. Basically, they're supposed to be the official roadmap for inclusion. And what's really interesting is, when you look across countries, you see this amazing consensus. So in the US and Canada, you've got the IEP, the Individualized Education Plan. It focuses on academics and behavior. But then look over at the UK. Theirs is called an EHCP, an Education, Health, and Care Plan. And this is the cool part. It's legally required to bring together a child's health and social care right into their school plan. It's incredibly holistic. But here's the bottom line. No matter the acronym, these aren't just helpful suggestions. They're structured, often legally binding roadmaps.
So you can see, even with all these different names, the core idea is a huge shift in thinking. We're trying to get away from just reacting when a problem pops up. The goal is to be proactive, to build an environment where students can thrive from day one. And it's not just about grades. It's about their long-term well-being and their independence.
Okay, but a plan is just a piece of paper, right? And that takes us from the world of policy right into the classroom, where the teacher, well, they're at the absolute center of it all. This diagram is amazing. It's from a policy in Chile, and it just perfectly captures the modern way of thinking about this. And you don't even need to speak Spanish to get it. The picture says it all. See that wide base at the bottom, the foundation? That's about diversifying teaching for everyone in the class. Then you move up a level. For some students who need a bit more, you add extra support. And then only for a few at the very top do you need to make really specific individual changes. It's this beautiful tiered pyramid of support.
So, that big foundation at the bottom, that's what we call Universal Design for Learning, or UDL. The idea is actually pretty simple, but it's so powerful. Instead of teaching a lesson one way and then scrambling to adapt it for a specific student, you design the lesson to be flexible for everyone from the very beginning. Basically, in a UDL classroom, diversity isn't seen as a problem you have to fix. It's just the norm. It's what you expect.
Okay, so building on that UDL foundation, you have something called reasonable adjustments. Now, where UDL is for the whole class, this is about a teacher's specific, often legal, duty to make changes for one student with a disability. And the most important word here is anticipatory. This isn't about waiting for a student to struggle. It's the teacher's job to look ahead, to spot potential roadblocks, and change things before that student is at a disadvantage. It's proactive.
All right, so we've got the plans, we've got the frameworks, we've got the teaching strategies. But there's a massive challenge lurking underneath all of this, and that is the incredible pressure that is put on teachers, which, as we all know, can lead to burnout.
This quote from the UK's Department for Education, wow, it really says it all. Think about that. It means the entire system, everything we're trying to do for inclusion, it all comes down to the quality of teaching in that one classroom. No amount of outside help can make up for that. That is a huge weight to put on someone's shoulders.
And let's be really clear here. The research is overwhelming on this. Burnout isn't some kind of personal failure. It's a natural response to a broken system. Just try to imagine it. You've got a class of 38, maybe even 45 students. You're drowning in paperwork that feels totally disconnected from why you started teaching in the first place. There's no time in your schedule to actually plan properly, let alone talk to other teachers about what's working. Day in and day out, you're pulled further and further from your real job, teaching kids. It's just not sustainable.
So this leads to a really critical shift in how we need to think about this. Teacher well-being is not an individual problem. It's not something you can solve with a yoga class or a mindfulness app. It is a collective issue, a systemic responsibility. And why does it matter so much? Because a teacher who is burnt out simply cannot deliver that amazing, responsive, high-quality teaching that inclusion absolutely depends on. It's that simple. Supporting our teachers is supporting our students.
So, okay, if the problem is the system, then the solution has to be systemic too. The real question is, how do we build an entire ecosystem that actually supports teachers so that they can do their best work and support every single student?
And a huge part of the answer starts right here, with building a real, genuine, collaborative culture.
And I'm not talking about another weekly staff meeting with an agenda. I'm talking about creating a place where a teacher feels safe enough to go to a colleague and say, hey, I'm really struggling with this, and get actual help, not judgment. It's that feeling that you're all on the same team, you're in it together.
We can really break this down into 3 key pillars. First, schools have to create protected time, and I mean time that can't be taken away, for teachers to plan and work together. Second, the school leadership has to step up. They need to be the ones actively clearing away all that bureaucratic nonsense that gets in the way. And third, we have to build stronger bridges between home and school. When families and teachers are on the same page, it creates consistency for the student, and honestly, it takes the pressure off everyone.
And that really brings us full circle. We started by talking about these incredible plans, these blueprints for inclusion. But think about it. A blueprint is totally useless if the construction crew doesn't have the right tools or the time or the support to actually build the house. The incredible promise of these inclusive plans can only become a reality if we design systems to support the people who are doing the work on the ground every single day.
So that leaves us with one final big question. We have the maps, we have the IEPs, the EHCPs, all these detailed plans from around the world. But the supportive systems, the collaborative culture, the real institutional backing, that's the vehicle that's going to get us there. Without it, the map is useless. So the question we all have to ask ourselves is this: are we putting as much energy into building the vehicle as we are into perfecting the map?